and not just the increased value of participating in a playoff for the Pac-12, but the games down the stretch in November that will have added value and attention and therefore increased TV ratings because they will tie into the playoff, as well as the Pac-12 championship game itself, unlike the other conference championship games, has been dismissed and detached from the playoff now for generally since 2016. The Pac-12 championship game then becomes, of course, the automatic berth into the playoff, and the increased attention and TV ratings should be a motivation.
And let's drill into that. That's a great point, Mark, because as you know, the Pac-12 championship game has generally been on Friday night, at least in the past few years. And of course, the logic behind that is you don't get it buried in the Saturday parade of the bigger conference championship games, which are, determining playoff berths under a 14 plan. So that's an excellent point that if you had a 12-team playoff or even just 8, where the Pac-12 was assured of a place at the table, the Pac-12 could then put its title game Saturday night, not concurrent with the Big Ten and the ACC main primetime window, but like an hour and a half later, having that instead of the Friday, kind of let's just get this minor game out of the way on the weekend. That would be a step up for the Pac-12 to have its title game on Saturday. So I'm thinking 9:30 Eastern. The Big Ten and the ACC play their conference championship games at 8 Eastern. So like you wouldn't have a late kickoff. You wouldn't have the 10:30 kickoff that you'd have for a normal Pac-12 regular season game. But I'm thinking like if 9:15, 9:30, somewhere in there on a different network, you would get the viewers at the end of the ACC and Big Ten title games. Then everyone goes to the Pac-12 title game for the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, kind of like New Year's Day when you'd have the Orange Bowl winding up on NBC and you have the Sugar Bowl ending on ABC. When one of those games ended, the one game that ended earlier, then the next game would be the last game of a very big day of college football. Everyone would focus on that. Like, let's just take as so Clemson versus Nebraska in the Orange Bowl, and you had Pitt and Georgia in that classic Sugar Bowl with Dan Marino winning the game in the final minute. So when one of those games ended, then everyone went to the other location for the final drama, with Clemson being number 1, Georgia being number 2. That was the battle for the national title. So you could get a similar deal where the ACC and Big Ten title games end, and then everyone goes to Vegas for the fourth quarter of a Lincoln Riley USC Pac-12 championship game against Oregon or Washington. So if you have an expanded playoff, the Pac-12 can put its title game back on Saturday in a favorable time slot and get a lot more publicity than what it's received the past few years.
And you also benefit at times from a blowout game from one of the other conference championship games in which people are tuning out at halftime, a la Michigan, Iowa in this past Big Ten championship game.
Exactly.
And they'll want to catch you for kickoff thinking, hey, this game's 24-0 at half. Let's move on. Let's get to the Pac-12. We're excited to see USC and Oregon play.
And, if Clemson gets its act together, the ACC title game is going to go back blowout, which it usually was when Miami, Pittsburgh, Virginia would show up and try to get drilled by Clemson. So even more evidence there.